Warning, you are not watching Siskel and Ebert.
You are now entering Wang World.
So time to go back with another video. I'm Strange Wang. Today I have a film review for the very anticipated movie for me, the Iron Claw, the Von Erich story. As someone who loves A24 and has a weird, odd relationship with pro wrestling, since it's the most interesting, intriguing thing on this earth other than sexual intercourse, I was extremely pumped to go see the Iron Claw, made by my favorite film studio. But before we get to the review of that, please go down to that thanks button underneath this video, donate some of that cheese, that cheddar, that mozzarella, those greenbacks to help support this very YouTube channel you're watching right now. If you don't want to do that but still would like to support, please hit that subscribe button. It is greatly appreciated. And if you do either of those two things, then
I appreciate that.
But let's get down to brass tacks. I gave the Iron Claw a 9 out of 10 wangs.
Why?
Because it is a good movie. It's well made. Even though some of the dialogue is clunky. And I don't know if it's clunky because the Von Erich boy just, that's just how he talked. He was a good Texan boy. He still to this day, he doesn't talk very fast. He's a slow talker. But for a movie, it kind of felt clunky when Zac Efron was saying some of Cameron Von Erich's dialogue. But other than that little small thing, this is a well-made movie. The wrestling bumps look like wrestling bumps. The physicality was there. You had Chavo Guerrero, an actual wrestler, helping along. You had Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF, a world champion for AEW in this movie, wrestling. So wrestling was a big part of this movie. And it all looked good. It looked realistic. It looked like it how it needed to look. But that is my problem with this film. I've never understood the thing, oh, well, it was a good movie, but it was nothing like the book, so I didn't really like it too much. Well, that's how I feel about this film. Kerry Von Erich is the shortest Von Erich brother, when in reality, he's the tallest Von Erich brother. Little things like that. Bad cosplays of professional wrestlers that I know. I know what Ric Flair looks like. Ric Flair does not look like that guy. Harley Race does not look like that guy. However, if I didn't see wrestling before, and I didn't know who Ric Flair was, or what Ric Flair looked like in the 80s, all I knew him from was that Offset video, I would be like, man, would I feel different about this movie if I didn't know there was a sixth Von Erich brother they just left out because him killing himself, apparently that didn't matter. Would it make a difference if I knew Kerry Von Erich didn't beat Ric Flair for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship and go on to lose it to Japan back to Ric Flair before he had that motorcycle accident?
I don't know!
Because in the film, it kind of seems like he just had the motorcycle accident after he won it. He was all jacked up and on that high that wrestlers get from that adrenaline. You have people screaming your name, things like that. It's hard to come down from that. I've heard many wrestlers say that in documentaries and interviews. So without having this prior knowledge to professional wrestling in the 80s, or just world-class Von Erich knowledge, because they have a Dark Side of the Ring, they have a WWE documentary, they have a independent documentary. Without all of that knowledge in my head, bothering me throughout this whole film, does it make it a more interesting, better movie? Probably so. Adding another Von Erich brother means you have to flesh out another character. Having 2 months in between means you have to have Kerry on that high, and it doesn't feel as effective as that sudden hit. Oh my God, he just won this title his family's been chasing. He finally is his father, like he made his father proud. He couldn't do it for the Olympics, but he made his father proud, and then boom, it's all taken away in a motorcycle accident. That's not as impactful 2 weeks, 2 months later.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So what they did in this film, I understand. It did make for a better film because you are on a runtime. It's not like this is an HBO show, even though it very well could have been. And HBO Max does have to deal with HBO now. So the Max streaming service stuff, you could have made a season out of this and it would have been great. However, you made a movie and it was a good movie. It was even, I would go on to say it's a great movie. The Sportatorium looked like Sportatorium. Did Ric Flair look like Ric Flair? No. Like a terrible cosplay. I just really love wrestling. It's unique, it's weird, it's wild, it's wacky. And this movie captured that for an outside fan or a fan that doesn't have a ton of knowledge, a casual viewer or someone who doesn't watch wrestling at all. So that's kind of where I'm stuck at. Performances, all the performances was good. Kevin Von Erich, Zac Efron, main character.
Shaky, baby!
But again, Kevin Von Erich, charisma, they don't really go together. So Zac Efron playing this person who's kind of shy, intimidated, not much for words. In the script wise, that kind of makes sense. But does it make for a good movie? That's where I'm stuck. But at the end of the day, the acting is good. The writing is good. What they cut and matched in there, even though it's not accurate. The history, it makes sense. It makes everything more impactful. It pulls on the emotions. And even though I know this story and I know this film isn't accurate to that story, when I got to the third act of this movie, I was emotional. I felt bad. I felt some of their pain. I understood. I related. I've lost people in my life. It hurts. It sucks. I had that emotion brought out of me because of this film. Now, did Von Erich kids go to wrestle after the brothers and everything? Yes. There's 2 of them wrestling today. There was one who wrestled in TNA, Lacey Von Erich. The Von Erich family do not hate wrestling, even though it kind of made it seem like they do hate wrestling. But this film, it did what it needed to do at the end of the day. It pulled on my emotions. It made me care about these characters in this film. And I think on more rewatches, I will care a lot more.
Why would you think that?
And I will care a lot more because I know what to expect. My expectations for this film was super fucking high. And I think for the most part it is to see those. And I'm trying to be as fair as I possibly can. But that bad Ric Flair impersonator, or not impersonator, actor, that's probably not going to bother me on the third watch.
Makes sense.
This film definitely had areas where it could improve. However, I think some of the rewatches will take care of that. Because you're making a film for people who probably don't know about wrestling, but wrestling fans are probably your main audience. So I think out of anything, I have a problem with the target audience of this film and the director kind of pulling back and forth to please both of them, to make a good movie, but to also make a movie pleasing the wrestling fans. I think for the most part, that was accomplished. But overall, the Iron Claw,
It's great.
after rewatches, I am very curious to how I'll feel about this film. Maybe it'll come up in a list or something later on because I don't do re-reviews. But ask me in the comment section in a year from now, if you're watching this a year from now, and I'll let you know what I think of it then. But that's the video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Scroll back up, hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe.